One, of course, being the Ravens and the Bengals.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how high the vibes were that the Ravens went into Cincy.
Yes.
And won a game where it really felt like they were in control from the get-go.
Yeah, they really were. And there was like the score, I don't think tells the whole story of that game.
No.
Because of the way that the Ravens dominated time of possession, the offensive plays, winning the turnover battle usually always ends up winning you the game unless you're the Chargers, of course. It was a really convincing win despite what the scoreboard said.
Yeah, I mean, not that you are going to make – there's no excuses when you play in any professional sport.
Right.
And so everyone, look, the Ravens are down stars. You're down Marcus Williams. You don't have Marlon Humphrey. You're missing two of your best offensive linemen. You're all pro left tackle and then your star-studded center, who I believe Tyler Linderbaum is. But people don't give a shit.
No.
People don't care if you're the most injury-plagued team or not. You got to go out there and perform. Just like on the flip side, no one's feeling bad for the Bengals dealing with issues with Joe Burrow.
Right.
And so we're playing right now, just highlights over top, courtesy of the Ravens. This deep ball, this was gorgeous, by the way.
Yeah.
And how about his performance coming back? Maybe not the same usage that he had in week one, but still his presence was felt in this game.
Well, they did 2 jet sweeps right after this play with Zay.
He was gassed.
I think they were trying to. They were just trying to get him to get a dud. I think that's really what it came down to. If they were trying to get Zay in the end zone.
For fantasy, I would want nothing more than Zay to score a touchdown there. But at the same time, I actually wrote that in my friends group. Hey, I'm all for a Zay Flowers touchdown here. Believe me. But we need to punch this thing in, and then you go to a Mr. Reliable. Mark Andrews scores a touchdown. The only thing that really concerned me in this game was that the Ravens felt like they dominated that first half, which they did, but it was a 3-point game.
Right.
Because of that punt return. And then you're in the back of your mind, it just had that, I'll admit, I had that thought of, man, are the Bengals going to luck out and find a way to win this game? But the reality was it wasn't. And actually there was the one turnover, Geno Stone, people were ripping on him for not turning upfield. That was a monumental play, stole points away from the Bengals. And then it really felt like the Ravens never looked back.
Good to see that Mark was back and kind of getting in that tub was also good to see. But man, one thing that I'll say that I thought was awesome was that you weren't just seeing Lamar rely on Mark Andrews. You weren't just seeing Lamar rely on one target. And we've seen this over the last couple of games now where like he is spreading the ball around everywhere. Well, another encouraging thing, if silver lining, if you will, OBJ goes down with an ankle injury. John Harbaugh comes out today, says it's not going to be a big deal, but we didn't skip a beat. The Ravens just kept on trucking along. Why? Because there's actual depth at the wide receiver position. And that's something that I've never been able to say so long as the Ravens have been here, which is pretty amazing. Nelson Aguilar stepped up and Lamar threw an amazing pass down there in the corner. I thought that it was just awesome to see that. It was not great that OBJ went down and had to sit out the rest of the game. But, we got plenty of other weapons there that got the job done, and it was awesome. Lamar looked really confident out there, way more confident than he did the first game. And I think that this is just a trend that's just getting started.
Yeah, and this to keep going with that, Nelson Aguilar actually was the Ravens' leading receiver, 63 yards on 5 catches.
Yeah.
Let's go through targets real quick because this is a great point that to spread it out. Nelson Aguilar, 6 targets. Zay Flowers, 5. Mark Andrews, 8. Odell, 4, Rashad Bateman, 3, Justice Hill, 3, likely 3, Duvernay, 3. That variety ultimately might give you a headache in fantasy football, but in real life football, that's tremendous. And the fact that Nelson Aguilar on the depth chart being the 4th wide receiver for the Ravens to step in, make a play, and you feel really comfortable with who you have, that's incredible. The other thing that was very great for the Ravens was they ran the football very well. Yeah. And not that, of course, it helps when you have Lamar Jackson being able to scramble, and that can help you. This is what I love to see. If you have a depleted offensive line, which I thought the offensive line played tremendously given their injuries.
Yeah.
But when you have number 8 back there, it's going to allow you to get away with more because he's so elusive, because he's able to extend the play. And you saw that. But Gus Edwards stepping right in, 10 carries, 62 yards. Gus Bus, really, his presence was felt. And the Ravens, quite frankly, going to team stats here, they outgained the Bengals 415 to 282. They had more passing yards, 237 to 216. And on the last part of it, rushing, the biggest difference, 178 to 66. Complete game for the team. And to us, it's not even the best that they can be.
Right. Yeah. And I said this before Dobbins even went down, that put Gus anywhere else in the NFL and he's a starting running back. It just so happens that now he's a starting running back for us. So I'm not worried about the backfield at this point at all. There's depth there. We have depth at the wide receiver position. So I'm super pumped. I have nothing that I feel like we need to be worried about as Ravens fans. And I'm looking forward to next week, man. Colts coming into town, and we should be able to take care of business, no problem, and go 3-0.
So on the flip side, with the Ravens being 3-0, for the Bengals now, you're 0-2 in the division, and I know the Bengals were 0-2 last year. This shit does not feel the same as last year.
It does not. And listen, and hear me out. This is my hear me out for this week.
Panic, no panic Monday.
Yeah. So overreaction here, whatever you want to call it, but Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals are not making the playoffs this year. And it is because Joe Burrow is not healthy. I think that that he should have sat out at least 1 or 2 more weeks. So if they would have gone 0-2 and a healthy Joe Burrow was coming back next week, I probably would feel a lot more different about the Bengals than I do right now. But the fact of the matter is that calf injury is stingy. And we've seen that from other players before. So it's going to take him a while now because he keeps aggravating it to actually get fully healthy. And when you have a player like Joe Burrow in a quarterback position who's using their legs to make throws, to get out of the pocket, to extend plays, he's not going to be able to do that like he has in the past. And, with what we're seeing in these first 2 weeks, I just don't see how the Bengals can overcome this, especially. And then look at this. If they sit him next week, probably a good chance that they lose against the Rams no matter what. Well, I don't even know who they're
it's at home, but the Rams are playing very competitive football right now. And
yeah.
Matthew Stafford is a legit dude and still is reminding people when he's healthy, that guy can go out there and play the quarterback position extremely well. But looking at that, they got the Rams. Then you got to go to Tennessee. That's not a walk in the park. No. Tennessee keeps coming. You got to play the Seahawks. You got to play the Niners. You got to play the Bills. Tough sled. And by the way, you still have 4 more games in your division.
Yeah.
And you have to go back to Baltimore. You have to go to Pittsburgh. Going to be more of a challenge.
Yeah, 100%.
So, hey, but no one.
So then is it an overreaction? Are the Bengals done?
No, you can't say that they're done. But again, I think, and this is actually interesting, in Vegas, going to Vegas for a second, guess who's now the favorite to win the AFC North?
Ravens.
Baltimore Ravens have about, you put down $100, you win 100, plus 100 odds. Some have it at 125. The Browns now are sitting with the second best odds. The Bengals have dropped to third, slightly ahead of the Pittsburgh Steelers, just to give the context. But I think this Bengals team does not feel like the same one. Last year, they turned the ball over and they made some mistakes to lose games. This one, it just hasn't felt like that they put together a game that they deserve to win through 2 weeks.
So you're not saying that the Bengals are done yet?
I'm not saying they're done yet because the competitive with it, I think their chances of winning the division are done. I will say that. I think winning the division's over, and it all comes down if Joe Burrow does not play or he is not going to be able to get back.
Yeah.
This team's doesn't have a chance.
I mean, watching him limp up to shake Lamar's hand at the end of the game was pretty concerning. And I would be concerned if you were a Bengals fan.
Well, it's the same thing we're talking about with Lamar Jackson. I mean, this is the reality. We didn't even touch on this. People can say all they want. It's different teams and it's a team sport in different years. Lamar Jackson, when he plays against Cincinnati, he's 7-1 as a starter.
Yeah,
he's 7-1. So the Lamar effect for the Ravens, it's evident. The same can be said with Joe Burrow.
Right.
When Joe Burrow's not going to be there, this Bengals team does not have what it takes then to get to the next level, just like it is with the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.